All right.
We are now.
Okay. Let's see. Where the Ramblecast ends, the extension begins. We laughed our asses off on a cold, dark night. I'm not afraid to go. You bet I'm not. Where the Ramblecast ends, the extension begins. Okay. I had to think of that one really
now,
quick.
Matt's frozen on my end. But now he's moving. Now Matt's moving.
No.
Oh, I've been moving
Matt
this
and
whole
me are
time.
perfect. We're at simpatico.
It's like we're almost in the same time zone, and yet we're
Yeah,
not. He's still 2 hours behind.
It's all me though, because my computer says looking for a Wi-Fi network. So I'll do what I can here.
I mean, clearly you
might
have
keep
a
it quiet.
Wi-Fi network if you're talking to us.
I think that's just a euphemism.
Yes, I don't know what the
your computer's trying to get hooked up. On my network.
It's almost as if you have a son who is a computer guy. You know,
Beep boop beep boop beep.
Yeah.
get your butt over here.
This is Jay's way of help. This is Jay's way of help. This is Jay's way of helping. You got to learn how to do it. That's Jay's way of doing it.
But he learned it from watching you.
I was watching you, Jack.
No, when my dad had problems, I would go over there and I would help him out. No questions asked.
Well, I mean, that's my policy with my parents. I'll show you once. You better be writing notes when I'm showing you. I'll show you one more time just for clarification, but after that, that's it. Because I can only describe how to attach a photo to an email so many times without blowing, a gasket.
I'm just imagining
Keep talking.
you
I think I know what the problem is.
Okay, well, I was thinking, like, I was imagining you trying to talk to your dad and tell him how to look up porn on the internet. Now, I'm only going to tell you once, Dad, okay? And I'm not going to look at it with you.
Yeah.
These are the sites that you want to go to, and this is what you don't want to do.
Yeah, I about snapped on him because they came last weekend and this weekend, and what was it? Oh, so we went out to eat, and he wanted to pull over at a gas station to get a bag of ice. And as I'm pulling into the gas station, he looks at me and goes, "Whoa, come in here! I need to get a bag of ice." I'm like, "Where the fuck do you think I'm going?" It's just like, no shit, Dad. I'm pulling up next to the big box that says ice on it. And then, I could tell. Look, I mean, he's 67 or 8, and he's not old yet, but I can tell that his brain is starting to slip now. To where, because there's definitely a couple of conversations where I would just really tell him something, and then he'd ask me 2 minutes later, like he never heard anything I said. And I just want to go, "Were you listening to me? No, you weren't." You almost get to that point where you're the dad now, and he's my son, and when you're trying to teach your kid how to swing a baseball bat, and they're like, "I know, Dad, I know." Well, clearly you don't know. We're getting at that point now where I'm,
the roles are flipping.
They're flipping. Yeah.
I will say that my dad a lot of times will not listen to what I say the first time through. So, and then he does this thing with my kids. They're his grandkids, but he always does this thing. It's an ongoing joke. And on one level, it's like, okay, yeah, it's your grandpa joke. I get it. But on another, your grandkids think that you're senile, Dad. So he does this thing where he always says, he'll always say that my kids are in the grade that's younger than them, or they're in the grade that's like before them. So my daughter's in 7th grade, so he's always like, "So Maggie, how's the 6th grade going?" Or my daughter turns 12, and he's just like, "So you're 10, right?" And it's like every time, and he knows their ages too, but yeah, it's like, no, you're just setting them up to think that you're senile and that you don't know anything. So
that's part of the fun, though, being a grandparent.
Gotta love them. Sure.
Am I right?
Yeah. Maybe.
I do the same thing. I do exactly. So what are you, like 8 now? And he goes, I'm 5. I go, oh, I thought you were 8. When are you getting married? I have fun with it, so that's all that matters.
It's just when they start to turn older and older and they start to age you. I think that's where my dad's like, stop getting older.
Well, it's funny, when they get older, I'll be doing that anyway, and I won't be joking. But they'll think I'm joking, like kind of like. Exactly. I know when my dad died from Lewy bodies dementia, and when it first started happening was after he had first started noticing. I noticed some things before, but I figured maybe he's just tired. But he had valve replacement surgery, and when I went to go see him in the hospital, when he woke up, and he's like, "Get that cat out of here." He's a smart ass, or was a smart ass. So I said, "What the hell's he talking? What's he talking about?" But he was serious, and we're watching this game between San Diego State versus, I think it was North Dakota State. He must have asked me 40 times who was playing. I go, are you fucking with me? But he wasn't. It was just like at one point I go, no, Dad, it's San Diego State versus North Dakota State.
So was he just doing the Steve?
And they said, well, that's just normal.
Was he just doing the Steve Martin bit?
What?
Was he just doing the Steve Martin bit of get that cat out of here? Is that what it was? No.
No, that's what my first thought was, but no, it wasn't. Was that?
Oh, okay.
We talked about it before. Anyway, we're going to surgeon get that cat out of here. Man with 2 brains. That's what it is. Yes, and but no, he was actually suffering from a disease, and as you went on in life, as a couple of years went by, you started and learned to accept it, and okay, this is what's going on, and all that different stuff. But anyway. That was that, and that's this. But be nice to your dad, Nick. Be nice to your dad.
I always am.
He wants ice, he can have ice.
He can have all the ice he wants. Just don't tell me to pull over and get ice when I'm already pulled over at the ice box for him to get ice. I'm like, why else am I here? Yeah.
It's bad again?
Yeah, it's bad.
Are you at a McDonald's, Jack?
Yeah, that's basically what it is. Yeah, but
I am not. I'm as frustrated as you guys are, because this is
I know this is your guy time. We get to hang out and drink, and I get to drink tonight.
I know it's guy time, and I'm just like, it's like anyway. So you had the Owen Beru barbecue. How'd that go?
It's great. It's almost as if it's the best podcast on the Jay and Jack Network.
No, it was good. We got to talk about the recent trailer, some recent Star Wars news. Missed Chris, not having Chris there.
Chris bailed on us again.
Oh wait, is Chris on this podcast too?
Well, I saw the. Yeah. Well, it's funny because I saw Chris was going to bail on you, and I almost said, "Hey, I'll watch the trailer." I said, "Nah, fuck that. I'm not doing that. I don't want to be told no."
You didn't want to watch the trailer,
so I didn't bother
for you. Okay.
Probably,
actually, half the trailer you'd know.
Yes, true.
Yeah, like the first half of the trailer, you'd be like, "Oh yeah, I saw this one."
It's a lot of the older films.
Which episode is it?
Together.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Episode 9. Well, yeah, it's a movie, so it's.
Did you like the trailer, Nick? Or should we wait for the podcast? Should we wait for the podcast to come out?
I think you should listen to the podcast, Jack.
We promoted the hell out of this.
I can't be on it. I'm not listening to it.
No, I did. I mean, we'll see when the movie comes out if I give it a thumbs up or not. But I did like the trailer because, like with a lot of trailers, it lets my imagination wander, and I start thinking like, "Ooh, that could be cool. Like, what if this happens? What if that happens?" And then I tend to build it up in my head more than what actually comes out on the screen, and then that's when I go, "It sucked."
When does the film come out?
December
21st, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
or 20th.
First. It's called. Yeah. What is it called?
It's the rise of Skywalker, right? The rise of Skywalker. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But it's going to be a good year for Star Wars because we got Mandalorian dropping in November.
Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you would like the Mandalorian. It's going to be a Western.
Yeah, I think you're going to like it that too, Jack. Disney Plus.
Oh, is it? Mm-hmm. Well, I am going to sign up for Disney Plus when it comes out because it's $12, right? And you get Hulu, ESPN, and Disney Plus all for $12.
Oh yeah, it is all of those. They are bundling those together. I forgot.
Yeah. And then we have Obi-Wan series that starts filming this coming spring. Mm-hmm. So we can expect probably a 2021 release.
Yeah, probably. Mm-hmm. By the time they finish up with that. So
he's our only hope.
He's your only hope.
So those are all those are going to be on Disney Plus, is what you're saying. The
series are, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we should have early 2020, the last season of Clone Wars cartoon will also be released on Disney Plus. So
and also there's all of this.
It is a good series, Jack.
There's all of this Marvel shows that are coming out, and you're going to have access. They said that they're going to open up all of the Disney movies are going to be on there too.
I wonder if they'll have all the cartoons, like the original.
Yeah, the Disney Vault.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah,
that's what I do. Not that old, but I do miss that. Like the Saturday morning cartoons we had as a kid because that you'd always have those in between. Because Transformers was 21 minutes or 19 minutes, and you had a few minutes to kill. They would show you an old Disney cartoon, and I miss those because you don't see them anymore. There's probably references out there that today's generation just goes right over their head. And those were even old for my day.
Cartoons, right?
No, they don't. They went away in
because all three networks had cartoons, right?
Yeah, all three networks on Saturday morning from like 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. was like strictly cartoons for kids. And then when Cartoon Network came out and something else, they basically got rid of it in around 97, 96, somewhere in there.
It was like cocaine for kids. Just killed.
You said Bugs Bunny, the Bugs Bunny Hour.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, the Bugs Bunny and Tweety show. Yeah. Or Bugs Bunny and Roadrunner show.
Turn the lights. This is it. The night of nights. Oh, what heights we'll see on with the show. This is it. Something like that. I know I left a lot of it out, but that's all I can remember.
Yeah. Our local theater actually here in our small town of Franklin, they do a cartoon Cans for Cartoons or Cartoons for Cans. I always mess up the name. But anyway, you bring in some type of food item from your pantry that is going to be donated to a shelter. And you get to watch an hour of cartoons. And it is all old school.
Nice.
It's pretty much Warner Brothers, but sometimes they've done like Pink Panther and some of the Hanna-Barbera. But
I love the Pink. I love the Pink Panther.
Right?
Ba-dum, ba-dum, it's funny though because if people don't know at home, I'm on delay here. So it's kind of like I'm hearing bits and pieces of it. When you said it, you said cartoon for cancer. I'm like going, that doesn't sound like a lot of fun. It sounds like when you said it. So anyway.
Okay, well.
But cans for cartoon sounds much better than the other.
Yes. And even when they show an old movie there, and this is really cool. So like this weekend they're playing The Treasure of the Sierra Madre. And I took my kids to see Spirited Away last weekend. They were playing that movie. Right before the movie, they do play a cartoon. So
nice.
For every movie, they play a cartoon.
Nice.
So it's a nice like old school kind of feature.
That's how it rolled in my day. You got 2 movies and a cartoon. Actually, you could stay there all day if you wanted. You could just stay.
Didn't you also get a newsreel of the war going on at the time before the movie started?
Send private war bonds.
Yeah.
The war is. We got to stop the Nazis. Yes, I did get that. So, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
That was cool.
Yeah.
That's how you got your news. That's how,
The same, like Friday night, I went to.
And then Roosevelt would
go ahead.
But Roosevelt would be pissed. Fake news. It was ridiculous. But go
ahead. Yeah, like Friday night, there's a theater in North Fort Collins called the Lyric, which I hadn't been to, and I went to check it out. And it's this great old theater, and they got beer and all kinds of stuff in there. And what's neat about it is that you only have like I think 3 or 4 standard theaters, but they're like couches. It's very like hippie-ish. Like you go in, I feel like you're sitting in a living room, and on the outside there's one outdoor theater. There's one outdoor theater that they will show old movies, and I thought that was cool because they just recently did like all the Indiana Jones films, and they're gonna do like. I was like, this is really cool. I was like, I'm gonna come here more often. But we went and saw David Crosby's documentary, Remember My Name, which is really good. If anybody out there is a David Crosby fan or just likes music documentaries, it's very good because it's very David Crosby in that it's not polished. It's not meant to make him out to be a saint. It's basically him saying, I fucked up my life. I did a lot of drugs. I was an asshole to everyone I've ever known. And I'm about to die because I know I'm getting old. And here you go. And I was like, it was really good.
Was he an asshole to you?
Yeah.
No. Basically, he explained at the end how, like, why is it where, why is it he is mean to people? And he goes, it's not me trying to be mean. He goes, he's not an adrenaline junkie, but he goes, but when I get on stage, my adrenaline gets really up, and coming down from that, I get, like any drug addict, he goes, I get really bitchy. And so like after a show, I will often be snarky with people, and some people can take it, some people can't. And also it's the fact that David Crosby, in the 2 times I've talked to him at length, he's just the way he is. He's very brutally honest, and I like that people though. So I don't like it when you hold back. I want to know exactly what you're thinking, and he's that way. And so, yeah, thanks, appreciate it. No, it's like the reason why Neil Young's pissed at him is because he dated Peggy Young for 30. Well, he was married to her for 36 years, and when he left his wife of 36 years to date Daryl Hannah, David was like, you're a fucking asshole, Neil. He's like, like how can you just leave your wife of 36 years after all this time? Like, she's earned, she's put in her dues, and put up with all your shit, and Neil didn't like that. And so they're not friends anymore.
Well, he did say, he goes, it's Daryl Hannah.
It's Daryl Hannah. Yeah, exactly. But it's not 1980s Daryl Hannah though. It's
all right. To quote David Crosby, though.
I know.
You don't know. She might be the law. So, sorry, that's one of my favorite. favorite.
So you're
Crosby
saying
songs.
you're saying when the drugs wore off, he got bitchy.
Yeah, well, not the drugs. It's just that he doesn't get into depth with it. But because when my adrenaline's up, he just doesn't have a filter anymore. He goes into overdrive and he just lets his opinions fly, and that's. So
that explains podcasting with Matt.
Yeah.
What?
I'm doing it for 11 years, so I've accepted it.
That's you like Cowboy the movie? That's the
Cowboy movie. Yeah.
Cowboy movie. Yeah. Cowboy movie.
I like that song.
Yeah. Well, it's one I wouldn't expected anyone to say. So okay. I had to think about it for a minute. I'm like, what? I know it's the last word he says in that song, but yeah, that's actually one of my favorite records of all time. Is If I Could Only Remember My Name.
Yes, very, very David Crosby.
I thought you were asking me, do I like cowboy movies?
No.
I go, what the?
You like gladiator movies too? You like cowboy movies? You like it when they take their belt off?
No, so the second track off of David's first solo record is called Cowboy Movie, and it's about the first time Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young broke up. And he uses Western characters to, because Stephen Stills is Billy the Kid, and like he just talks about how, because like Stephen was always like never satisfied. He always had to be the boss. He had to go out and just conquest everything, and it's just interesting.
And then there's Duke and Eli.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But Jack completely? Oh no,
no, he's still there. He's just giving
breathing.
Weird
breathing.
look.
Good. Okay.
I'm doing something. Just talk.
Okay. We'll pay no attention to you. So.
Don't pay any attention to my man behind the curtain.
No, that's interesting though, because I mean, I didn't know that backstory about that song, but I know that Crosby's a very hit or miss kind of musician. It's like, and yeah, I mean, there's some fucked up things about Neil Young, and I love some of Neil's music, but probably would not like him as a person if I knew him. Like,
yeah, like
I've chosen not to hang out with him.
Yeah, from what I've understood about Neil is that he's very, even to this day in his older age, he's just fly by the seat of his pants. Like whatever his muse or whatever hits him, he just does it, and then he's just as quickly to say yes to something as he is to say no, because he doesn't want to go into the same rut twice or same groove twice. Like that's why like most of his music is very spontaneous, because he doesn't believe in multi-tracking. He just goes in, records it 2 or 3 times, and that's it. Like, it's either a good take or it's not.
Yeah, I mean, but I also like the fact that Neil, like he would go off and do stuff with Crazy Horse, but then he'd also do his solo stuff. There's kind of like these two sides to his kind of music.
Yeah, I think that's been
Crazy Horse.
Yeah,
I think that's been more.
That's a strip club in Vegas.
It's also a historical figure.
I've heard,
but because he found the band, and when Danny Whitten got into heroin, basically he lost his guitarist, which is the main reason why he got with Crazy Horse. And because he says that I hit this Neil and the Damage Done, I hit the city and I lost my band. I watched them take another man. That's what it's about. And then when Danny died, he basically wrote off Crazy Horse, like that's it, and then when and then the other one died, Bruce Berry, which is
Bruce Berry.
that was Stephen Still's roadie, and that threw him back into depression again. And then they made Tonight's the Night,
that's a great album
with the remnants of Crazy Horse.
I mean, it's sad. I mean, when you know all of the things about that, but man, that album's so good though.
It is.
I mean, it's an ultimate tragedy. Like some of the best albums are birthed out of like these musicians' pain and like their anguish. I mean, like Blood on the Tracks is like so good, and yet like even Dylan's like, I don't know why you want to listen to somebody's misery. Like, it's just like the most painful things that come out of like musicians.
Well, I think it's because it's human, and people resonate with those songs because they can imagine themselves in them, or like, at some point, because like you look at, that's why Rumors is such a popular record,
right?
It's three songwriters, all three going through breakups, writing songs about the other person in the band who they're breaking up with. And so like, people can put those images together and put a story together. That's what makes it interesting. It's the same as with concept albums, like that's why Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust is good, is because you can imagine, an alien coming to Earth and all that. And it's like, oh, this is interesting. And the same as like Dylan's a natural storyteller, and that's what he did. And Blood on the Track, I tend to like A Desire more than Blood on the Tracks, but that's just me. But yeah,
I mean they're both great. I like them both, but I don't know. It's hard for me to choose because Isis is probably one of my all-time favorite Dylan songs. That is why my Twitter handle is 5th Day of May.
Right.
So, but.
Well, I think it's just because Dylan took a random risk by inviting Scarlett Rivera into the studio, and her fiddle playing or violin playing, everyone will call it, just takes it up a notch. Just like I can really feel this song because of just the way she's playing certain things along with it.
Well, doesn't Emmylou Harris, isn't she on that too? Like somewhere?
I think she's probably singing some background.
I think she is singing some background, but then he also had Jacques. No, who was it?
Cousteau.
Jacques Cousteau. No, he had a songwriter on that album too.
He had some with some lyrics. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember. I keep wanting to say Jacques, but it's probably not.
Well, I mean, like to me, like what's interesting to me about songs, and since we're on Dylan, it made me think of it. Just random things that make a song special. Because, like, you even take like a Rolling Stone, which is probably Bob's one of his top 3 best known songs.
Mm-hmm.
Who is it? Is it Mike Bloomfield or is it Al Cooper? I think it's Al Cooper. Is the organ player on that track who did not know how to play organ. He heard Dylan practicing the song and went, I need to be on this track. I just need to be on this track. Sat in there and played, the organ, just watching them hit the chords, and he would play it like half a second behind, half a bar behind. And the engineer actually had turned down the volume the entire time, every time he played organ. And then Bob, when they were listening to it back, goes, wasn't someone playing organ on this? And they said, and so they turned it up. And so you hear that, dun, dun, like you have that half a second delay of that organ hitting after the main chords. And it's one of the things that makes the song. And it's just because he didn't know how to play the organ. And so that's why he's just trying to figure it out. But it's one of those...
some people would say that's how Jack recorded the first half of this podcast.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Is that he was a half second behind.
I'm always a half second behind.
But now
blood,
you're not.
Sweat and tears goes into every podcast. So yeah, it does sound better right now.
Yeah, and you're live with us now, which is awesome because
I'm live with you. I was clicking some buttons and something worked. But you know what else I need to click? I need to click. I'm trying to stall here because I'm trying to get it right on the nose here. But I'm trying to click for a commercial break right now. All right, that's it. I'm done.
Well, I hope you like toenail clippers because that is what you're going to get for Christmas. I assume that's what the commercial was about.
You can always use toenail clippers.
Pretty much.
It's like my wife.
It's true.
I take my fingernail clippers and put them back in the same spot every time.
Mm-hmm.
My wife, I had like 3 pairs there at one point. Now I got one. Because everyone would borrow. When everyone was looking.
Now, when you get those kits, you get the fingernail clippers, which is the small one, and you get the toenail clippers, which is the big one. And I use those fingernail clippers for the toes as well. Do you guys do that too, or do you actually get the separate?
I actually like the toe. I like the toes on the fingers.
The big ones for the
now, Jack. I have somehow I also have a wife. I don't know how that happened, but I've found out though that having other females in the household, and it doesn't have to be females, because men can paint their nails too. However, I have noticed that the fingernail clippers always end up migrating, and toenail clippers always to where the nail polish is. So there's a nail polish basket in our house, and then boom, lo and behold, that is where I'm going to find them when they're missing.
But she does her nails like now she does it like in the same location, but it's like the same. But when the kids were living here, I go, look, just put up. You can use them, just put them back because I don't have to go looking for them. I don't think that was too much to ask. But when Dad would get mad because he couldn't find his clippers, there goes Dad again, just losing it. Well, just put them back. Just put them back. But I'm the asshole. I'm the asshole because I just wanted them put back where they belong. But that's just me. I don't like to complain. You know me.
Yeah, I know.
Never.
You've actually not complained too much on this podcast because you've been a half second behind.
I don't. Yeah. Frustrating. It's my computer still says searching for network.
But you're with us.
Well, like you said, I couldn't be here if it wasn't for. And I got earbuds on today, so I'm using my wife's earbuds.
You're like Chris in Boston over there.
Yeah.
Oh, now Siri's asking me something. No, Siri, go away.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you were like Chris in Boston, we could only assume that you were looking up.
No, I lost you guys.
What?
Oh.
I could only assume that you were looking up all of these different songs that Nick and I were talking about.
Yeah, he would. He would. He'd like, all right, he'd be over there. I don't listen to Dylan, so I'll just look up some random shit about Dylan real quick.
Did you guys know that?
I don't listen to Dylan.
Did you guys know that? I don't know. He just come up with some random fact like 5 minutes later.
Yeah,
we love you, Chris. But you're not going to listen to this.
You'll never listen to it. So yeah. We could say anything right about him right now.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, I just never was a big Dylan fan. I don't know.
Yeah, I tend to find that about people is like you either love Dylan or you hate him. There's not really any in between.
No, I don't hate him.
Well, I'm saying, but it's people who I just never
take his. You know,
I think okay, so for me, as someone who spends time in the studio, painting, and you can't always watch TV because it's very distracting. To like you just have to be in the moment. Well, you either listen to music, which kind of like puts you in the zone, or you listen to a podcast, which is also how I came to be a Jay and Jack listener.
Right.
I was just painting in my studio. I was liked to watch Lost. I wanted to know more. I was like, I'll listen to these guys. It's like, what are these bozos?
So why did you listen to us?
I don't know. I don't know why.
You said you wanted to learn more.
I wanted to learn more. I stumbled across you guys, and I think it was like a Christmas episode that like you guys were singing songs and doing all that stuff, and I was like, I'm gonna give these guys another chance.
That was was that when we had different guests on? Like
no, I think it was early on. I think it was very early on in the whole.
Well, the first season we had a Christmas episode.
Yeah, I think
it was different because I'm doing the Lost Rewatch on Crazy Hank TV. You can subscribe today. But last week, Ralph was saying how when he first started, how he got into Lost and stuff like that. And he said the first one he listened to was The Transmission. And he goes, I didn't know. He goes, I thought they worked for ABC. And he goes, then I listened to you guys. He goes, then I realized it was just regular people. I go, so was that a compliment? And he goes, yeah. So you had The Transmission, who is very professional, and then you had us. Because the first podcast I ever.
Yeah, no, I think that Jay and Jack was the first Lost podcast that I listened to. I didn't listen to. I mean, eventually I was like, oh, there's an official Lost podcast. Wow. But initially though, it was Jay and Jack that I stumbled across.
I'm one of the.
Thank you.
I'm one of the rare people that actually discovered Jay and Jack through the Metro Buzz. So it's the same thing, Matt, that I was in the archaeological lab and had gotten an iPod and was needing something to listen to while I'm sorting through artifacts because you're just there, just mundane.
Yeah, it's quiet time. You got to do something. Right?
Yeah, something. And so I was like, I should listen to a podcast, and I just typed in probably something general, like, a generals, whatever. And I liked Colleen's original podcast, and this is fall 2006, a long time ago. And then I was into Lost at the time. And I went, I wonder if there's one about Lost. And I think I'm exactly what Jack said. Like, I think Transmission was probably the number one podcast at the time, but they didn't put out as much. It was right when they were starting to quit. And I want to say Jay and Jack was like number 3. And so I just subscribed to the top 3, and Jay and Jack were the ones that I liked the most. After I listened to them, I'm sticking with these guys.
Wait, who was number 2?
I don't remember. This is 13 years ago.
You're worried about that?
Yeah.
Jeez.
I am worried about that. Who was number 2? I'll give you the Transmission, but who was number 2?
I have no idea. It wasn't the Dharmalars.
So you had Lost Cast. You had Delta Gets Lost.
You guys could have been number 2. I don't know, but
no, you don't backtrack. Don't backtrack. But no, it's the first because it's funny because the first podcast I listened to was The Transmission. Because Jay goes, well, you got to listen to this podcast. I go, yeah, fine. He goes, this is what we should be striving to be. I go, I can't do that. I'm not doing that. I go, I can't be professional. I can't do it. Because they're very organized. I go, something comes to my head, I'm going to say it, and that's how it's going to be.
But I think that was the endearing thing that brought me back to Jay and Jack. Because initially, I probably listened, and I was like, these guys, I don't know.
And then Jay guy's an idiot.
Yeah, and then I don't know about these guys. And then I was listening to a lot of podcasts at that time because it was new, and there's a lot of shows out there that you're just like, I can listen to this about this. And eventually I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna give those guys another chance. And I came back to Jay and Jack, and I was like, I really like these guys. Yeah. So and it really grew on me. But it was the fact that you guys were informal and you guys were
I liked that they did 2 episodes per week.
Yes, and there was that. I do think that the 2 episodes a week, there was the
initial reaction, and then
yeah. And even when you had the listener feedback, like I liked hearing what other people had to say. You know, like I think that was like such a great component, was hearing everybody's weird, even if I didn't contribute to the listener feedback.
Yeah, I know. I used to write in every now and then, and not one of my theories ever got read on the podcast. I was a little bitter about it. I just I would just get a reply from Jack all the time saying, "Yeah, that's interesting. Thanks for writing in."
Well, now I'm going to take this time. And
all of my theories that would be Jay.
Oh, okay.
I tried to at least give it a little half-assed, hey, that's a great theory. I don't know.
Yeah, you were always really, the weird thing too was that because my age is right between both of you guys, like there was always times in which I would side with Jack and I'd be like, yeah, Jack's right about this. And then there'd be other times I was like, Jack's just an old fuddy-duddy. Like, Jay's onto something here. Like, Jack doesn't know what he's talking about. And then other times I'd come back to Jack and be like, what the hell does Jay know? Like, Jack's on, like... So I always go back and forth.
Because I've never listened to him again after, the original airing. But I think Jack was the only one who ever had a correct theory. I think the rest of them were all wrong. but you're just kind of like, oh, that's interesting.
Wait. I had more than one.
Oh, okay.
I had more than one.
Hey, broken clock, man.
Yeah. But,
it's right twice a day, but anyway.
Sure. I had the underwater hatch, which was my claim to fame, and I'll never, have anything better than that.
and Rose works for Dharma, which is the.
Well, that one she, but I did say that I did have a theory that Christian Shepherd had an affair, and that's why he was in Australia. And I didn't say it was Claire. I said I thought it was Penny, because there's a scene when Jack goes in the hatch, he sees a picture of Penny and he stops and stares at it and just gawks at it. So my theory is now that they heard it and say, hey, that would be a good thing, but we can't make it Penny. Well, let's make it Claire. I'm just throwing it out there.
It is funny.
I like how you have a theory within a theory. Go ahead, Nick.
But it is funny how people read in, like I was saying earlier about Star Wars, you read into things because you want to read into things. And the theory ends up being better than what is reality, because it's like in Empire Strikes Back, there's a scene when Han's getting tortured by Vader, and just outside of it, you see Billy D. Williams, Lando, staring at Boba Fett. And they asked Jeremy Bulloch about that scene. Like, I love that scene where like he's looking at you and you just kind of give him this really creepy kind of like side look, and then you just look back and he's like, can you explain that? And he goes, yeah, I just saw him looking at me and I went, what the hell are you looking at? So I just kind of looked over at him and can't look back. And you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like, how can you emote that much through a mask? Any crazy Lost theories, since we were talking about that, Nick, that you had that didn't come true?
I don't remember.
Oh,
I'd have to look at the old emails.
Must not have been very good.
Okay, so here's my one, the one that I can think of, at least, because I mean, we've all had like several, like whatever season you were on, you were always kind of like, oh, I wonder if this is going to happen. Well, somewhere between season 1 and 2, I had came up with this whole theory that Alvar Hanzo was like in the center of the volcano, absorbing the energy of the island, and he was like some Machiavellian player in the whole thing. So, but we never saw him. It was just a kind of a blowaway character. So, but
I remember that email. Did you send that in?
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, I remember
that theory.
My handle was Alvar Hanzo when we first started Sports Talk with Three Stupid Guys. My handle as I logged in was Alvar Hanzo.
Or maybe you've told me this before, because I remember that theory.
Yeah, I probably did. I mean, we've done enough podcasting over the years. Like
that is true.
We've hit our decade. So
yeah, it's funny when the transmission folded, they were kind enough to say, "Hey, listen to certain podcasts." So they recommended us and a couple others. I told Ryan and Jen this a few years ago. I said it was great that you guys did that, but it was also terrible because we got so much hate mail. You guys are nothing like them. You suck. I wish they'd come back. It's like, oh my God. I go, yeah, I love listening to them too. And it's great. And then when Darmalars quit, some guy sent me a nasty note saying, he goes, the only fucking reason I listen to you guys is because of Darmalars. You better do as good as they did. And then I'm like going, okay.
Yeah, I was I'd say I was grateful that we never got any hate mail, at least that I knew of, for Game of Thrones, because we always get good stuff, which was nice. Because I expected it with Game of Thrones fans, I expected it, like for someone to go like, Nick, you're so full of shit, you get all this stuff wrong, and I'm like, we never got that. So
no, we never got it when you joined it, but before you joined it, the first year we did it, I finally told Jay, look. I go, I can't deal with this. I go, because we're doing 5 podcasts you were doing a lot. We were doing 5 podcasts, and that was the last one. And it's just like, and plus you try to do a theory. People who have read the books, and they're like, going, fucking idiot. Do you even watch the show? I'm like going, well, it's a crackpot theory. It's a theory that I haven't read the book. I
smoked crack and I smoked pot, and I came up with this idea.
Yeah. You're a fucking moron. It was like, okay, thank you. That's why I said, you said last week's email from the anonymous. I go, I've gotten worse. So it's just like, it's like you just take it with you just roll with the punches. You just kind of go, I'm here. But Lost, it was like, I had some because a lot of people were John Locke fans.
Oh,
and I was, sure. And I'll say it, I was spot on with John Locke. I was spot on. I argue with Jay all the time, but eventually he admitted that I was right. I was spot on with my analysis of John Locke, and people that were John Locke fans were pissed at me. And they would just send me nasty note after nasty note. And then the whole thing, why do you hate Terry O'Quinn? I go, I don't hate Terry O'Quinn. I love Terry O'Quinn. He's a great actor. And people would get mad at me. I'm like going, what did I ever say? I hate Terry O'Quinn. But that me complaining about John Locke as a flawed person somehow meant I hated Terry O'Quinn. But you just deal with it.
Well, they were all flawed. I mean, that's that's
why they were there. But
yeah,
but see, people thought that John Locke was a great leader and John Locke was the savior. I go, no, he was a bonehead. He was not. He was not. In fact, I just watched Tabla Rosa, Kate's episode, and at the end, he saves Walt's, he finds Walt's dog for, he tells Michael and stuff like that, but you have that angry look at his face at the end. And people think that's when he was taken over by a smoke monster. And I go, well, no, I think it is just because he was upset, because we see his flashbacks that he has a bad relationship with his dad and all his parents, actually, both his mom and dad. So I think that was his issue, that he was, he probably, anyway, I'll talk about more on the Crazy Inks review of that and Walkabout on Thursday.
Okay, well,
excited to watch Walkabout. I haven't seen Walkabout in probably 4 years. I'm excited to watch it.
It's a good episode. Solid.
Yeah.
So.
Why does he need so many knives, Jack?
Because he's John Locke.
Well,
if you throw one at a board, you throw one at a board and it runs away, you got to have another knife, right?
You do wonder though, like there's like, even though there's small holes in that, and it was like exactly, he only kills like 1-2 boars, early in season 1, and then he says like, there's only so many, I can't feed these people forever. Like you wonder what they ate or like what did they do, because it's never really explained.
Other people.
Well, no,
yeah.
Well, that's why I think he took Boone on the trip. If I get rid of Boone, that's one less person to feed.
True.
Well, you know what Bob Dylan always said. You don't need John Locke to tell you which way the wind blows. So, but he can make it rain. So, anyway.
Yes, John Locke can make it rain.
And here to an island. I'm trying to think. Idiot wind.
Idiot
who's
wind.
Got the train?
It's me. You heard it before.
That's right. That's right.
I traded in the cops for a train. Yeah.
I think the train is better. I like the train better than the cops.
Yeah, there's a railroad that runs right through the center of Fort Collins, and even though I'm in Timnath, Anyway, a lot of trains, a lot of open spaces out here.
Any bears? Any?
Not here, no. Actually, well, I saw 2 black bears in the canyon on the way into Rocky Mountain National Park 2 weeks ago. Actually, it was a mama bear and her 2 cubs. But yeah, you couldn't get any good photos because they were in like a tree, but just kind of playing around. But you could see them. Like, oh, that's cool.
Probably best not to get when it's a mama bear getting close to the cubs.
Well, yeah, there was a creek in between us, so.
Oh, that's even better.
There's no immediate danger.
Okay.
But, the thing is, like, out here, you do have people that, for the most part, have their wits about them. They know not to approach a freaking bear. But you get to the Smoky Mountains, which is one of the 2 national parks east of the Mississippi, and you will get people that will jump out of their cars and walk right up to a freaking black bear, like, oh, hey, it's just a big dog, and you're like, I hope you die.
Well, it's the same way with the bison in Yellowstone,
right?
So it's like people are surrounding this creature that can push over a car.
Yeah.
With no.
Well, you had that one where the parents left that girl, 9-year-old. They ran and she got flipped up in the air.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, they which I've witnessed. I've witnessed people just surrounding them and approaching them, and it's just like, yeah, they're silent, but that doesn't mean they're gentle.
Yeah, they're not cows. They're not. That's what the people think that buffalo are cows, and they're not. They're completely different. And that's what's really surprised me about Yellowstone is, like, if anyone's ever been to Yellowstone, when you go through the station to get into the park and you pay your fee or whatever, and they give you your map, on top of the map,
yes,
is this big yellow thing that says "Do not approach the buffalo."
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you not read?
I think Yellowstone, should have the subtitle. It's like Yellowstone : beautiful but deadly.
Or something, yeah.
Because everything about
I've never been to Yellowstone.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's great, but it's deadly.
Yeah.
But I hear it's deadly.
Everything. Well, I mean, the hot springs. It's like you're looking at these hot springs. They're awesome. They're really.
You're literally standing on a volcano.
Yeah.
Very large volcano.
So they're hot.
Yeah.
You don't jump in them.
Nope.
You
people have lost dogs to them. People have lost their limbs in them. So it's not good.
Really? People are that stupid.
Well, I mean, I've heard of such things.
It's America. Yeah.
Yeah. Like people trying to grab someone that's fallen in one, and then it's just like it's boiling water. Yeah. It's just like it's awful. So. But anyway, I don't want to travel down that mental path because I can paint a good picture in my mind of what can happen to people. But
I mean, it depends. Like I think Yosemite is better, and Jackson Hole, which is just south of Yellowstone, I tend to like the landscapes more than Yellowstone is cool, and it's definitely worth doing because you have a big Yellowstone Lake, and you have Old Faithful, and you have the hot pots and all the paint pots and all that. But like to me, it smells like sulfur because it is a volcano. But I like it. It's definitely worth a visit. But I would choose the Tetons and Yosemite.
So you're prejudiced against like Satan and demon smells?
I didn't say that. Okay. I assumed that everyone.
That's the impression I got.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah.
Don't like sulfur.
Isn't Yellowstone? Isn't Yellowstone the one where the volcano is going to erupt and we're all going to die?
Yeah,
at least the East Coast will. Yeah. There's like I don't know how many, like 3 or 4 super volcanoes throughout the world, and if one goes off, it's basically an extinction level event. Yeah. Because they're so big.
Okay. So the East Coast would be screwed, is what you're saying.
Well, I mean, the West Coast would be too, but but because of just the natural wind current and everything, yeah, like basically, I think if Yellowstone erupted, all of Wyoming, Montana, Colorado, Nebraska, basically everything Michigan, all the way to probably New York would, even like Matt, would probably be gone within a month or so, and because it would basically be like a crap ton of nuclear bombs going off. You'd have so much ash in the air, it would kill off all vegetation.
All of the Great Lakes would be just destroyed. So with ash,
couldn't we drop a nuclear bomb into it? first?
That would erupt.
I hear that works.
Yeah, that would erupt it. There's actually a bubble at the bottom of Yellowstone Lake. There's kind of like a little dome at the very bottom of that lake. So they believe that's where the volcano.
Well, I need to get there before it erupts because I've seen none of these places.
Sure. It's big. Choose your poison. Like, you want to go there. You want to go to Venice before it's underwater. Do you want to go to Amazon rainforest before it's burned down? Like,
No.
My parents went to Devil's
State.
My parents went to Devil's Tower on Monday. They were so disappointed there were no aliens there.
No, were they?
Yeah, they went up there with the lights and everything. Like, like just nothing. They were like, what the hell?
The Devil's Tower was cool. I liked it. My wife and I camped there, and she knew nothing of Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And the entire time, I'm like, this is the backdrop of this really famous movie where aliens arrive.
I would immediately, as soon as I pulled up with her, if she had not said, be like, "This means something. How do you not know this? This means something." Like,
were you already married, Matt?
No,
we were dating
at the time. Yeah, just dating.
And that wasn't a deal breaker. That wasn't a deal breaker.
No, actually, we met. Our first date was in December, and then by summer of that following, so we had only dated for about 6 months, and somewhere in that mix, Denise had said, "Oh, well, I'm planning on going on a road trip out west. And I think she even offered, like, do you want to go with me?" And I was like, sure, yeah, I'll go. And it's just in that part of dating where you're just like, yeah, whatever. And then I think it was probably like a week before we were set to leave that I think we both came to this realization, like, oh shit, if this goes bad, like, we're going to be like trapped with each other in a car, like thousands of miles from home. So yeah, we went on the road trip, and it was actually, it was kind of like a galvanizing force. It kind of showed us both, like, hey, we can get along with each other on a road trip.
Yeah. Like
for 2 weeks together.
It's a major hurdle.
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of like we could get along together for life. And so it was definitely like, and you get short tempered with each other. You see all of the goods and bads, and
and it's like musical tastes. It's like, she's a punk rocker, you're a folky, and you're like, this is not going to work. Like I can't listen to the Ramones on a loop. Just can't do it.
That's actually we listened to Bob Dylan's "Time Out of Mind" and on that road trip, and that kind of solidified one of our songs because it was such a important song on that trip. So, but yeah, it was definitely one of the moments that kind of made our relationship where we said, maybe, like, this is maybe.
I'm glad it worked out.
Yeah. Well, yeah. The opposite would be we would have fought and then decided, nope.
Well, you call Dan, and he's a cleaner.
No, you just go to the hot. You just go to the hot springs.
Go to the hot springs. Well, I think that's that happened like 2 years ago. I think where as a couple went to one of them, the hot springs or the pools in Yellowstone, the one that's not like on the main path, and they got too close and the crust broke and they both fell into it and died.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that's why you always stay on the wooden bridges.
Yes, you do.
Don't ever get off.
You got to get that. You got to get that selfie.
Yeah, that's probably what they were doing. If I had to, it's tragic because I can't imagine dying that way. It would be miserable.
Oh my gosh! I don't think we did
all the likes we get.
I don't think we did Yellowstone that year. I don't think we went to Yellowstone on our first trip out. So
it's neat. I mean, it's huge. It's bigger than the state of Rhode Island. I mean, it is. It's a huge park.
Yeah. So Chris could live there and call it Massachusetts.
Yeah. Chris from Yellowstone.
Just outside of Boston.
Yeah, just outside.
But before we end the podcast, I did have a question I wanted to talk to Matt about.
Wait! You're going to end this podcast
so quickly? Yeah.
You're going to shit.
No, I just said before we ended, I just wanted to make sure I had this written down. I just want to make sure.
Wait! Before you ask me this, I wanted to tell you something, and that is that sadly, I'm going to have to retire from this podcast.
Yeah.
I
can't take the punishment anymore.
It's a lot of emotional stress for me.
I think if Matthew left, I think it would just descend to shit though, because I mean, no one's going to listen to the Ramblecast with Jack and the other guy, because it's just going to be a lot of dad jokes and
I'm sorry, but I still have to
dad
retire.
Jokes and facts.
I know my contract is for a lot longer. Oh, sure, boo me, but the emotional state that I'm experiencing right now is pretty intense. Okay, go ahead and ask me what are you going to ask me, and then I'll leave.
I would say, what was your reaction? Because I'll be honest with you, I was playing poker with Jay and some other people, and someone said, "Hey, Andrew Luck retired." And I go, "Andrew Luck retired?" I go, "He's only in his 20s." I go, "Andrew Luck retired?" They said, "Yeah, he retired." I go, "All right, what's the joke?" And so we kept wait. But then, later on you hear it. I go, "All right." But then you see that the Colts fans booed him. And then, of course, people on Twitter were going after him. And it's like, all right, the guy wants to retire. He's done. I mean, if you've ever – I had no problem with it, to be honest.
No, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, well, I can't speak for the Colts fans that booed him. And I think that as a city – there's pretty much two reactions that you can have, and one is like you respect him, you respect who he is, you like who he is, and you're like, okay, it's your body, your choice, like you got to be you, and you're okay with it because you respect him as a person. Or there's the complete opposite, like, fuck that guy, he deserves to be. Like we paid him money and he should be there. And, there's this whole other mentality, this knee-jerk mentality of like being upset with him.
Didn't someone slash his tires?
I have no idea because I
heard that.
Yeah, I have no idea if all of the other aspects that came along with it. But I will say that, my reaction was just like, oh, well, that sucks. There goes our season. Well, I guess I'll be a little bit more productive.
Well, apparently, OJ Simpson picked him in his fantasy football league, so I think we know who slashed the tires.
Silver linings. Yeah. Silver linings. Although he is still in jail.
That's why you need more than one knife. OJ's out.
OJ's out.
I will say, he is? The juice is loose? I will say, though, that
the juice is going to get you.
The reactions, though, that I have seen firsthand from just people around Indiana and Indianapolis, the days after, are seeing people out wearing Luck jerseys, people out there wearing, like, showing their support of Luck. So, yeah, there's always going to be those people that are going to be like, fuck you, I own you, you took my team and my fantasy league, and there's always going to be that. But to me,
I know there's been a lot of people that want their money back for season tickets because he retired. And
sure. Well, I mean, season ticket holders, I totally sympathize with that. I mean, you okay, put it into perspective. You signed up for Netflix because there's a show that's coming out, right? And you're so excited about this show that's going to be released, right? And all of a sudden, the star actor of that show decides to quit. For whatever reason, they decide to quit. And that show still goes on without him. And you are still locked in to that Netflix account. Except that Netflix account isn't just $12.99 a month.
Right.
I mean, it is entertainer. It is entertainment.
But as a season ticket holder, especially a game like football, you realize that any player can be hurt at any time. There's a risk, and he was hurt. He hadn't practiced. There was something wrong with him, with his leg or his ankle or something like that. So he hadn't practiced. I get where people are upset, And like I said, I was asking myself, okay, you're 29, your team has a pretty good chance of going to the Super Bowl. Would I have sucked it up and said, okay, I think myself, I would have done it. I would have said, okay, I got a chance to go to the Super Bowl. I'm going to do it. But again, anyone that's done rehab and anyone who's in pain. I mean, like I said, I played sports pretty hard, and 3 years ago I was reffing college games. Now I can't even go on the ice. I mean, I'm in constant pain. Yeah. So I get it from that standpoint. It's like, it's no fun being in pain. And it is like Gronkowski came out and said, he goes, I just was checking out because the pain was getting so bad. I just couldn't take it anymore. So I have no problem with these players going, fuck it. I'm not going to do it anymore.
Right.
Again, I get the ones that want to, it's your choice now. That there, you could get brain damage. There's all kinds of, there's no secret anymore. It's like smoking cigarettes. There's no secret. If you smoke cigarettes, you're putting yourself at risk.
Well, right? I mean, he specifically cited emotional fatigue as well. The fact that concussions can lead to psychological depression, lifelong depression. I mean, there's a lot of players out there that have committed suicide.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, we're not talking about like just, and he has a name attached to him. There's a lot of players that don't have names attached to them that have had to deal with these things. So, I'm not mad at Luck. I'm not a season ticket holder. Brissett, I'm interested to see what happens with him. So I thought the games that I'd seen him in last season, he showed better life than Sorgi or Painter. And God forbid we ever go back to those days. But, I wish the Luck the best. I'm not really that upset. Like I said, I thought it was really neat to see how many people actually still supported him after that decision. There's always going to be those people that are going to be pissed. And yeah, if you're a season ticket holder, I don't know. I know one of our listeners who lives in Indiana had tickets to the preseason. So I don't know if he's a season ticket holder himself or how he feels.
I've seen him at some games.
Yeah, so I'd be interested. Send us an email. I'd really like to know, Eric. What your takes are on that. You can always send that to the
RCADCast at gmail.com. RCADcast@gmail.com.
It's not the word.
Because I started when I.
Nick, you don't have a room.
12 years ago.
I know.
Huh?
You weren't on Sports Talk,
what happened?
Nick. So
I'll just shut up some more.
Oh, Nick's just trying to get his word in.
No. Oh, go ahead, Nick. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Siri interrupted me.
I was just going to say, like Indiana fans really shouldn't be mad. It's not like the team is going to get moved to like Dayton or something, by Spanos.
Spanos. But I know I started saying in hockey, I used to say they should eliminate checking through all youth leagues. They should there should be no checking. Now you're always going to have contact because it's a contact sport.
Yeah.
I go, but no, like when I was doing those college games, those guys were literally beating the shit out of each other. Mm-hmm. I mean, there were legal hits, but I can tell you as I was on the ice reffing and lining, there were times I got hit, and my head snap. There was times I was dizzy, and so so you sit there and see these guys. I think when you start them at a young age, and I don't think like Pop Warner football. I think it should just be flag football up until a certain age in high school.
I'd agree.
I think these guys. I think a lot of these injuries happen when you're younger. And like I said, when I actually reffing, I learned that a concussion can happen not for a young kid not hitting your head, but if you hit the boards or you fall on the ice and your feet hit, it rattles your brain around because you got the helmet, but it can't protect your head, the brain inside your head. It can't. So I think that they should do everything they can to eliminate contact and all football. I know people go, "Oh, that's fucking pussy shit." They used to get pissed at me. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Eventually, they will. Look at how this is like 5 years ago. Look at how the NFL is trying to make the sport as safe as they can.
Yeah.
You fine players for doing things, and they're going to eliminate checking in the NHL. They'll never do it. They will because the NHL doesn't have the power the NFL has. NFL has, and the NFL is doing it. Eventually they will eliminate checking in the NHL, and I really have no problem with it.
Yeah.
I really have no, because you see these guys, like you said, like I said, Junior Seau. I love Junior Seau. He was a great San Diego Charger, and he killed himself.
Yeah,
because he had issues with his head. I mean, he played way too long. He wouldn't retire because he loved the game, but he'd been playing football since he was like 5 years old. Well, boom, 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 boom. So I think, these guys, and they should allow marijuana should be legal. And I know people, we joke about Mentos and stuff like that. And the only reason I do it is because of the pain. I don't do it for recreational purpose. Not that I don't frown on it. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I wouldn't do it just for the recreational purpose, but it's no different than having a drink, in my opinion. But these players are they're getting heroin basically to stay on the field. But if you smoke a joint, oh my God, no, you got it. You're like, what's it, Gordon for New England now, who can't, all the time he smokes, he can't stop smoking pot and he gets suspended. Well, I'd rather people be smoking pot or taking the chewies than taking the opium or whatever they're being given to. And I think that also affects them too down the line. So anyway, that's just way more
addictive too when you start to get into opiates and way more addictive.
You can't stop it. You can't.
I mean, and for anyone who has never smoked pot and doesn't know anything about that, I will just say that way much easier to quit pot. I've quit smoking tobacco. That was hard. That was intense. That was really, really, I never want to go through that again. Nicotine is awful. I mean, just the willpower alone and trying to get through that period of time in my life. And so way more addictive. The little voice inside your head that's like constantly like, it's okay. It's all right. Yeah. You know what? You deserve this. You're okay. You should have. I mean, constantly there every single minute, that's not there with pot. It's not at all.
No.
So,
that's why it should be legal nationwide, and obviously if you're under the influence and it's same thing with alcohol, if you're driving and, you're under the influence, same laws, and you can make them stricter. I don't care, but it should, like I said, but these players, like starting at the young age, should not. I mean, look at baseball. Baseball, they have things across. I mean, when I first started playing baseball, I was catching. All I had was I had the mask, and you turned your hat backwards. That's how old I am. And you just had the mask.
Yeah.
You didn't have the helmet protector, and I got hit in the head with the bat. And I was like, and I also got hit in the nose and the face. I said, I don't want to do this anymore. So a couple of years later, they had I go, I got the whole shield around. Okay, I don't mind doing it. So I'd be like the backup catcher. But, look at baseball. They have things across. Like I watched my niece play softball when I go out to San Diego. All the infielders had helmets, and they had like a face mask. So the ball would bounce up and hit him in the face.
Yeah.
So we're making that, if you're making that, like you think softball, who could get hurt playing softball? But, getting hit in the head with that ball wouldn't feel it. So every sport they're making safer, but I still think that, and I know people are out there going, oh, that's fucking bullshit. My kid's going to play tackle football. He can learn everything he can playing flag football and then eventually get into when you're a little older.
Yeah.
And learn how to play it.
I mean, I agree 100% with you, Jack. Because your brain is developing all the way to you're basically 24 years old. Yeah. And it doesn't matter if you're getting hit in the head or if you're smoking pot or drinking alcohol or whatever. Like anything you do to your body is going to have an effect.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of the things I do like about, because Colorado, it's legal. I've been into a dispensary one time just because a friend of mine was going in. I was like, I want to see what it's like, and so I told you all this a little bit, but I liked the checks that you had when you walked in there. Like you walked in, you had to immediately surrender your license to make sure that they knew it was a real one, and that you were of age. And then you waited like you would at a doctor's office. And then they would bring you in. They would ask you very thoroughly, like, what are you looking for? Like, what are you wanting to do? And then they explain like, okay, this is going to do this to you. This is going to do this to you. This is, and then, so you knew what you were getting into. They treated you like an adult, like a responsible. It wasn't just like, going into a gas station and getting a 12-pack, it's like, hey, like,
or a bag of ice.
Yeah. Or a bag of ice. Yeah. But I like that because it's like, hey, like this is, it is a drug and we're going to explain to you what it does to you, and you're like, cool. Okay. And I like that. And it's the same as like, I wouldn't want if I had a 10-year-old or whatever, I wouldn't want him out there playing tackle football because I've seen it. Like, you're basically a bag of bones. I mean, you're just a little kid. You don't have anything. Yeah. If you're taking a 10-yard run at another kid, I mean, nothing good is going to come out of that.
I know my oldest daughter. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
My oldest daughter, she wanted to play hockey. I said no. I said no, but she played soccer and she hurt her knee and she now has chronic knee pain. I mean, it hurts all the time.
Yeah, so, you don't think soccer would do that, but yeah, it is a very physical sport. And just
she hurt her knee. She hurt her knee as a junior and just kept playing.
And players can get concussions in that sport as well.
Yeah, so, you can. Yeah, well, especially when you're hitting the ball on your head. I mean,
yeah. I was going to say there's a really funny episode of Blackish where they deal with I think the main character's name is Jay, right? But anyway, his youngest Dre. Yeah.
Dre.
His youngest son wants to play football. And he's so excited, like he's just like, this is the best, and so and he just has all of these dreams about him becoming a football star, and he's just like so excited, and then they finally convince the mom because the mom's like no. So they
she's
finally,
a doctor.
Yeah, she's a doctor, and I think the kid's like doing all of the things that he can, like he's doing homework, he's being like he's just going out of his way to like be the best kid ever, and so she's like, okay, So she, the first game, the kid's out there on the field and he's about to get hit, and Dre just runs out on the field and picks up his son and starts running with him because he doesn't want his son to get hurt. And it's a great show. They tackle, pun intended, some really great issues that are very, contemporary and at the forefront of just everyday society. And
I didn't like Dre and Rainbow fighting.
I did not like that whole thing either. I mean, that whole storyline lasted way too long, and I think they were trying to. Again, they tackle some issues, and sometimes you're not going to like them. But I agree with you, and Jack's TV experience, I will say, I think it reigns true. Nobody likes to see mom and dad fighting. Like that rule for TV, it's something that you've said time and time again. And when it happens and I see it in a show, I always think back of Jack's words of wisdom. Nobody likes to see mom.
It's uncomfortable.
It is. It's awkward. I mean, even when New Girl, like Jess and Nick break up, it's like, I think it's Nick.
It is, right? Nick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Nick. Yeah, Nick.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's an episode in which they break up, and it's like, I don't like that episode because I'm like, no, I don't like seeing you guys fight. Like you guys.
That's why they shouldn't date.
But they got together and it was fine. Like actually, when they dated, it was okay. It was fun. But then when they started to fight, it was just like, then they broke up in an episode.
Don't you moonwalk away from me.
Winston's probably one of my favorite characters from that show, by the way. He's great.
He was very funny, yes.
Yeah. Always takes practical jokes too far. But anyway, I digress.
But anyway, so that's our take on that. If you disagree with us, that's fine. But if you have a comment on it, you can send us an email to rcadcast@gmail.com. And I think it's a good time to wrap it up because you guys have been podcasting for like 10 hours.
Yeah. For free.
Right? Because you did your Owen Beru's barbecue.
Yeah. Well, we have to keep the fans satisfied. I mean, it is the best show. Oh.
It is. It is the number one show on the network.
On the network, yeah.
But if you like the other shows on the network, you want to help and support us in any way that you can become a member of the patron group by going to jandjack.com. Click on the patron link there. You could also help us out by shopping Amazon. Every little bit helps.
Who doesn't shop Amazon?
Yeah, you're looking for a mouth guard because you want to play tackle football. You can find that on there.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. On Saturday, I don't know if you guys watch it, on ESPN, they had an hour or 2 hour long program because it's the 150th anniversary of football in America. It was really good because it gets into like, the invention of the game and like especially in the teens and the 20s, like when it was really popular, and how like there were so many deaths in football every week in college because back then you had hardly any kind of pads and there was no forward pass, and so it was basically just a big, and like it took Teddy Roosevelt's son because he went to either Harvard or Yale and he got injured, and it took him to finally go like, you guys are going to put in some rules to where and it was really good. So anyone out there has seen it, or you guys should watch it. It was just a good program. I have no idea what it was called because it just had on my guide. It just said Sports Center, which wasn't Sports Center, but it was just a continuation of this program because it was after the Georgia Miami game.
30 at 30.
No, it wasn't a 30 on 30, but it was just the 150th anniversary. And I guess you can just catch it on ESPN sometime. But I thought it was a really good program, just the whole history of the NFL, not the NFL, just of football in general in America. And,
cool.
I don't think
it's funny how Matt mentioned mouth guards. Yeah. They really started clamping down on the mouth guard rule the last couple of years I was reffing, and you'd always have these kids. I go, all right, show me your teeth, and I'd go along the line. Get off the ice, get off the ice, get off the ice, get off the ice. Because we'd go to the bench and the coach, what are you doing? I go, you were told they all have to have a mouthpiece. And they would put it at the side of their mouth. They'd chew it out. I go, put it in your mouth. And the one kid, he kept falling out. I said, go, you just got 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Because what's falling out, I go, if it's in your mouth, it won't fall out.
Right.
So I've warned you once already. That's twice. I go, I'm not getting sued because your brain's going to get rattled up because they say it helps with the concussions. And the coaches would just be pissed off. I go, I could be sued.
Not only are you,
all they have to do is wear the mouthpiece.
You're kind of being a dad. You're saying like, look, this is, but like your coach is dumb. Your coach is like giving you the worst advice. Yeah. So,
I mean, you'd have 5 or 6 kids go, what? That's fucking bullshit. I go, well, you want another penalty? Get off the ice. Go find your mouthpiece. And a lot of them didn't even have the mouthpiece. And the parents were getting mad.
Yeah.
My kid woke up at 6 o'clock. I go, that's great. He packed his helmet, packed his skates, packed his stick, packed his gloves. I go, how about his mouthpiece? He can't come out here without a mouthpiece. And I said, I don't know if that was like the last couple of years. They really clamping down on the rules. Like an elbow was like 2 and 10 and all this different stuff that were going on, but it was just protection. So anyway.
Yeah. I mean, it's been 20 years since I've played football, but when I played, you had these big, thick hip pads. They just look goofy as hell on your sides. But now I look on, college and NFL, and you don't hardly see anybody wearing hip pads anymore in the NFL. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they just made them smaller or if they've got some kind of different system now in their pants, but you don't hardly ever see anyone wearing hip pads anymore. It's just, the thigh and the shoulder and everything else, but in the neck pads. But it's just like what happens if you take a shot in the hip bone?
Yeah.
I can't wait. I know with me, I didn't.
Oh, I just was going to say, I can't wait for the body force fields.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, with me, I didn't wear shoulder pads, but I took the shoulder pads out, but I wore chest protector. Because most people didn't even wear the chest protector. Mm. But I'm playing defense. I go, I'm not getting hit by that puck because it ricochets off a stick. And you always had people out there with no cage. I always thought cages should be mandatory, or at least a face shield. And you had people get out there and they're stick in their face, and because I took the puck to the face reffing, and that was before it was mandatory that you wear a half shield. Mm-hmm. People say, "Why don't you wear a full shield?" Why don't you wear a full shield? I go, "Well, how would I blow the whistle?
Mm-hmm.
I can't blow the whistle." So I got smacked right here, almost broke my nose, but I was like right here. I mean, luck I didn't lose an eye. And I was like, after that, went and got the face shield and put that on there. The half shield, and at least had that on there. But it was like, but now it's mandatory that you at least all referees have to have at least a half shield. Where before it was just like, I mean, you look at the old NHL, you got guys out there with no helmet at all. Right. Players are wearing the goalies aren't even wearing helmets and face masks. They're just.
It won't be long. It won't be long, but even soccer, they'll have helmets. So
they should have the flopping acting they do.
Oh yeah, that's pretty brutal. Anyway, I think we've solved all the world problems today. But if you like to become a patron, and we thank all our patrons, this time we're going to thank Tack from Paris, Eckhart Rickner Glaffler, Maggie the Magnificent, Joanne with a Plan, Drake the Destroyer, and Ed the Creepy Letter Carrier. Thanks for what you do, and thanks for everybody who listens. We appreciate it. And check out Owen Beru, the most popular podcast on the Jam Jack Podcasting Network. And sorry I was delayed earlier until I figured this out.
No, it was a great show, kid. 1 in a million.
Hasta luego. And goodbye.
Bye.
All right, now I stop this thing. All right.
Choo-choo.